There's this question that pretty much everyone asks themselves at some point. How in the world do you find time to learn when you have no time? Well, what if the answer was you don't need to find more time? What if a packed schedule was actually the secret weapon you've been looking for? It sounds completely backwards, I know, but today we're going to break down why it might actually be true. So let's start with a perspective that, let's be honest, makes perfect sense to all of us. You've got this medical trainee saying, hey, a lighter workload, a benign duty, is the ideal setup. More free time means more study time. It's logical, it's intuitive. It's probably what you and I would assume, right? But then you get a completely different take from another trainee. For this person, all that free time, it's a trap. It just leads to slacking off. The real learning, the thing that actually gets them going, comes from being thrown into the fire, from the pressure of actual real-world cases. So, who's got it right? Is it the planner who needs that quiet space to follow a schedule? Or is it the pragmatist who seems to thrive when things get chaotic? Who really gets how learning actually works?
And here is the twist. The research kind of suggests that maybe both of them are only seeing half the picture. It's not really about the number of empty slots on your calendar. It's about what's going on inside your head and what's going on around you. So let's start with that internal engine.
All right, first things first, let's talk about the most powerful factor of all, what's happening internally. We're talking about the power of your own inner drive. And the key idea here is something called intrinsic motivation. This isn't about cramming for a test or trying to get a promotion. This is that pure, simple, internal desire to know stuff, to figure things out, to get better at something just for the sake of getting better. And you know what? The data on this is super clear. Studies show that your own personal goals are way more powerful for keeping you engaged than any external pressure. For instance, they've seen that medical students who enter grad school a bit later often have much higher levels of this self-driven motivation. And here's the kicker. That core drive, it sticks around, whether you're swamped with work or not. This quote is just a perfect example of what that inner drive looks like in the real world. See, it's not about waiting for that perfect, quiet, 3-hour study session that never comes. It's about building a habit so strong that you can grab tiny moments, 15 minutes here, 30 there. It's a habit that's born from drive, not from a perfectly clear calendar. And this just totally flips the script, doesn't it? The goal isn't to find some perfect, silent study sanctuary. The real goal is to build habits that are so tough, so resilient, that you can learn literally anywhere, anytime. Okay, so that inner drive is huge. But of course, none of us are learning in a bubble. Even the most motivated person is affected by what's going on around them. So now, let's look at some of those really powerful external triggers. This right here, this is that magic moment. Researchers call it a curiosity spark. All of a sudden, learning isn't just some abstract thing on your to-do list. It's urgent. It's personal. You see a real problem, and you have this intense, immediate need to understand it. That one experience can be more motivating than a whole month of scheduled reading. And there are other triggers out there too. Take time pressure. When that clock is ticking, you don't have time to mess around. You're forced to focus on what's most important. And then there's peer influence. I mean, think about it. When everyone around you is studying and really into it, it just kind of pulls you in, doesn't it? This effect is so real, it has a name: social contagion. It means that habits, good and bad, can literally spread through a group of people like a virus. If you're in a culture where people are learning, you just naturally become a better learner yourself. And finally, you've got good old-fashioned accountability, that hard deadline. Notice here how the person feels totally exhausted post-duty, but that feeling gets completely steamrolled by the reality of the quiz tomorrow. Sometimes that non-negotiable deadline is the best motivator there is. Okay, so we've got inner drive and we've got these external triggers. Now let's put it all together and watch them collide in the ultimate case study, the chill rotation versus the so-called toxic one, the super high-pressure, intense workload environment. I mean, just listen to this. It turns everything you'd expect on its head. The chill rotation, the one with all the free time, should be where the most learning happens, but for this person, the exact opposite was true. The intense, crazy, toxic rotation is what actually made them study more. Why on earth would that be? Well, it becomes really clear when you break it down like this. On the chill rotation, sure, you have tons of time, but there's not much happening to spark your curiosity, so the learning is kind of passive. But on the toxic rotation, you have almost no free time, but you're getting hit with constant, high-stakes problems. The learning becomes urgent and case-based, which leads to that shocking result at the bottom. The actual quality of the learning is often higher. And that right there is the secret. It's not the amount of free time that fuels deep learning. It's the intensity of the stimulation. It's being constantly faced with real challenges that you have to solve. That's what drives you to learn, even when you feel like you don't have a second to spare. So after all that, what's the big takeaway? Let's zoom out and boil this down to a framework that can help literally anyone, whether you're in med school or you're just trying to learn guitar in your spare time. It really comes down to 4 things. 1, start from the inside. Find your personal why. What makes you care about this? 2, build habits that can survive in the real world. Short, focus bursts anywhere you can. 3, use your environment to your advantage. Hang out with people who motivate you and find real problems to work on. And 4, don't be afraid of accountability. Use those deadlines to give yourself that little bit of productive pressure. So I guess I'll just leave you with this final thought to chew on. When you think about your own goals, whatever they are, what are you spending your energy on? Are you busy trying to build the perfect schedule, clearing out these perfect blocks of time? Or are you focused on building the inner drive and setting up the external triggers that will make learning happen no matter what your schedule looks like? It's a really different way to look at it, and it might just be the key to everything.